Hey guys, Josh here with the Drawing Artist blog, and in this 5-part series I will be taking you through the entire process of drawing a portrait from start to finish. So even if you've never drawn a portrait before, or you're just starting out, these videos should help you achieve your goals. With that said, let me quickly go over what we'll be covering in this series. In part 1, I will be showing you how to build the layout using a photo reference. Part 2, we're going to define the areas of shading. Part 3 will consist of layering and building values. Part 4 will discuss the proper blending techniques to use. And finally, in Part 5, we'll put on the finishing touches. Also, before we begin with this first lesson, I need to mention that I will be releasing these videos in sequence. So depending on when you watch this video, there may be only 1 or 2 parts available. So if you only find 1 or 2 of the videos from the series, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the next part in the series. Okay, that's about it. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing you want to do is scan in your reference photo and print it to scale. You can resize it using a photo editing program if needed. Second thing you'll need will be some drawing paper and a proportional divider so that we can transfer our measurements from our reference photo. Also, you will need an architect's triangle kit. In addition to that, you're going to need a ruler. Now, the 18-inch rulers seem to work the best for this method, but if you don't have one, that's okay. Not to mention, you will also need both your lightest and darkest pencils, one to mark up your reference photo and the other to lay out your drawing. Okay, once you've printed out your photo reference to scale, we're going to need to put some center lines on it. Now take your darkest pencil and a ruler and mark the center of each side like so. Okay, once you have your center marks located, just take your ruler and use it as a straight edge and connect each mark. Now, using your lightest pencil, do the exact same thing to your drawing paper. Now we got the center lines, we can start making our reference points. I like to work out from the center, so I'm going to start with the eye here. Start with the top of the eyelid. I'm going to take a measurement from the center point on the vertical center line there and just transfer it over with my proportional divider. And I'm just going to take the bottom of the eyelid there and let me give you a little demo on how to do this properly. Okay, from your reference, just take a measurement from that center line there to the point that you're going to transfer. And you're just going to bring it over. Just make a rough mark of where you're going to place it. You're going to take the measurement from the horizontal center line to get the vertical axis of it. And now you can just make a mark on that line that you've done there. And now I have point A. And this is what I do to all the points for each feature. Okay, after you have your reference points located on your drawing paper, you're going to want to sketch in the feature it is that you're drawing. Okay, taking a closer look at what we're doing, we're just from the reference points that we transferred. We're just sketching an outline of the feature that we're referencing. Now, don't worry about being 100% accurate on this, because you can correct as you go, and it's not an exact science, but it'll give you a direction to move in. Okay, finishing the layout of the eye here. I'll make a little mark from the direction of the light so that I'll know when I'm shading in here which side to make the darkest. I'm going to be laying out the nose, so I need a fixed point to work from, so I'm going to get the outside of the cheek and sketch that in there so I can have a bit of a guideline there. So I just kind of rough sketch in where I mark the cheek across that horizontal center line. Then I'm going to get some other reference points from the nose, and that way I can sketch it in. Now, to get that curve and angle in there, put a line somewhere above on your reference paper, and then make 2 additional reference points with a line crossing like right above where that nose is going to touch, like so. Now, to transfer that over to your drawing paper, you're going to need to do the same thing, except you'll just use your divider and you'll transfer over those 2 additional reference points that you made, and then you'll make that angled line across the top there. It turns out I didn't need that horizontal line I drew above the reference in this demo. As a matter of fact, I did use that in this drawing, because I didn't, from where the angle was, it didn't cross the center line like it did in the demo. It just so happened to work out that way, but the idea was just to show you about how to find the angled line to reference the nose. Okay, moving along here, I'm just putting in the finishing touches of the layout of the nose, and then I'm going to be moving up to that left eye there, or right eye, depending on what perspective you're looking at. You got to be sure to double check yourself. Right here I made a mistake. Speaking of mistakes, in the video I got a little trick that I can show you how you can get around that and go back and make your final tweaks before you finish your layout. Now right here, I'm moving on to the mouth, and I'm just going to make a vertical mark on a reference paper so that it'll mark on that horizontal center line where the edge of that mouth is. Measure over from the center point, and then I can get an accurate measurement where that is. And just take me a vertical measurement there, transfer that over, and now I know where the corner of that mouth is, so that'll make it a little bit easier when I sketch in that mouth so that I can have it at the right angle. Mouths are not my favorite thing to draw, so anything I can do to make it easier, I will. What I'm doing here, and I do this quite a bit, is I can just line up my reference photo above my drawing, And now I can mark where my teeth are here. It just saves a little bit of time, and I don't have to go back and use my divider and check and recheck. What I did there is I just took my ruler and found where the bottom of the chin was and just kind of sketched around where, just get an idea where everything is, pretty much. Like I said, you can correct as you go, and I definitely do. On the ear there, I just made another mark on that horizontal line and just hit it straight up and down. That way I had a guideline, much like you did the nose. This is just very similar. And I can rough that in there. Now I'm going to find the top of the head from the center line so I can start sketching top of my head in there. Going back and refining some of my layout. Okay, I'm just going to erase the center lines from the face area. I'm going to leave the outside edges for this next part. Now this is the trick I was talking about. You just want to take your reference copy, place it over your drawing paper, and those lines that you extended from the beginning when you put the cross lines on your drawing paper, you can line those up with the reference, and then you can just flip it back and forth. And it takes a little practice, but once you get used to doing this, you can kind of look around the drawing and see your mistakes, and then you can go back and correct them. Okay, that'll about wrap it up for part 1 of this series on the portrait layout. I'll see you guys in part 2, where we'll be working on the shading. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.